What is going on, guys? Chris here, and welcome back to part 3 of Beginner's Speed Solving, a series that I started over a year ago, which would take you through how to start speed solving after you just learnt the beginner's method. So, you've just finished F2L and you need to do the last layer of the 3x3. And what we're going to be doing in this video is teaching you how to do 2-look OLL. And basically what this means is you solve all of the yellow pieces so that they're facing upright, and this is called orienting them correctly. So you orient all of the yellow pieces in just 2 algorithms instead of using the beginner's method, which takes up a lot more time. 2-look OLL is a little bit like solving the first layer on a 3x3 in that you start by getting the yellow cross on top. Now, as you can see here, none of the pieces on top are yellow except for the center. So what we want to be able to do is first of all get a cross, and then once we've got our cross, as you can see here, we then want to sort out our corners, and we do that with a second algorithm just like that. Now there's 10 different cases you need to know for this, and I'm going to take you through them now. So for the first step of 2-look OLL, you need to ignore the corners completely. So as you can see, we have 2 solved corners here and then 2 unsolved corners here, and we need to ignore all of them for the time being and just focus on the cross. Now this is one of the most common cases you'll get with the cross, in which you have 2 adjacent pieces oriented correctly, and it kind of looks like an L. So to solve the cross from this position, we have to hold one of the edges in the top and the other one on the left, so it looks like a backwards L, and then we do this algorithm. F, U, R, U prime, R prime, F prime. And as you can see, if we ignore the corners, we've actually solved the cross. The second case you will get if you are trying to solve the cross looks like this. This is when we have 2 opposite edges solved and the other 2 unsolved. So what we want to do in this case is hold the solved edges on the left and the right hand side. It doesn't really matter which way around for 2-look OLL. And you're going to do this algorithm. It's quite similar to the last one, but not quite the same. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And then if you ignore the corners, as you can see, we have built our yellow cross in just one move. The final case you might get when trying to solve the cross for OLL looks like this. And this is when we have none of our edges oriented correctly. So all we have really is the center and then whatever corners are solved. Now this is a little bit more tricky of an algorithm, but it goes just like this. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, and then we move just the middle layer of the F slice clockwise, and then R, U, R prime, U prime, F. Just like that. And as you can see, we have solved our cross from basically having no pieces at all. So once you have your cross built, it should look a little something like this, and this is where we start step 2 of our 2-look OLL. There are 7 different cases that you might get with this. There's 8 if you count the solved state in which OLL is complete, but there's 7 different algorithms you need to learn in order to solve the corners now. This first case comes when there's no corners at all solved, and we have these headlights, which means we have a block of 2 facing us and then a block of 2 at the back as well. And it's really important that you pay attention to where these yellow pieces are if you're going to do the algorithm correctly. So if you look around the cube, you want to hold it so you have your cross on the top and you have 2 of the headlights facing you and the other 2 facing away, and then you perform this algorithm. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And pause the video if you need to perform the algorithm. And as you can see, we have solved OLL and we have all of the yellow pieces on the top. This next case is very similar to the last one in that we have none of our corners solved and we have the cross on top. Now as you can see, we have the headlights here facing us, but if we look at the back, there's nothing there. We have the yellow pieces facing to the sides instead. So instead of holding the cube with the headlights facing us, we actually want to put the headlights on the left hand side and then have one of the yellows facing towards us and the other one facing back. It's really important that you hold the cube this way when you do the algorithm. And the move for this case is R, U2, R2, U prime, R2, U prime, R2, U2, R. And there, as you can see, we've solved OLL and we have all of our yellows facing up. The next case we are going to look at is when we have two of our corners solved, but they are opposite from one another on either ends of the cube. So we have this kind of diamond looking shape going on here. And basically we want to take a look at the unsolved yellow pieces, so that's here and here, and we want to make sure we hold them correctly. So we want one of them facing us and the other one facing to the right, and you need the solved corners in the top left and the bottom right. And then the algorithm goes like this: R prime F, R B prime, R prime F prime, R B. And there you go, we've solved OLL using that case. This next case is when we also have two of our corners solved and two of them unsolved. In this case we have headlights again, in which the two unsolved corners are facing in the same direction. So we want to hold our solved corners in the back and the unsolved corners facing us with yellow, and then we do this algorithm: L2, D prime, L, U2, L prime, D, L, U2, L. And there you have it, we have solved that OLL case and we have all of our yellows on top. And then the final case, in which we have two of our corners already solved, comes when we have two solved corners here, just like before, but instead of having headlights facing us, the unsolved yellows are facing at different angles. So we have one yellow going to the back and one yellow facing forward. So what we do in this case is we have the two solved corners on our left, and then we have one yellow facing us and the other facing away, and we do this algorithm: R prime, F prime, L, F, R, F prime, L prime, F. And there you go, we've managed to solve OLL for that case. So there's only two cases left, and that's when we have only one corner solved and all of the other corners unsolved. Now these are probably the most tricky because we have three unsolved corners and all of them are facing in different directions. So in this case, you basically want to check the piece next to the solved piece. So if we hold the solved corner in the bottom here, we need to make sure that this yellow piece is facing towards us, and it is. In other cases, you'll have it facing to the right instead. So if you hold the solved corner in the left, check that this piece is facing you, that this piece is facing to the right, and then that this piece is facing to the back. And if that is the case, you have the Sune. And the algorithm for this, making sure you have the solved corner in the bottom left, is R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. And there you go, we've managed to solve OLL for that case. And then the final case of OLL is when we have one corner solved just like so, and if we look at it in the bottom left, we can see that we don't have the piece facing us, it's actually facing to the right. So when this is the case, we actually want to put our corner in the top right here, and then when we check, we have the yellow in the top left facing to the left, the yellow in the bottom left facing forwards, and the yellow in the bottom right facing to the right. And we need to make sure for this case, which is called the Anti-Sune, that the solved corner is in the top right. Otherwise the algorithm won't work. And what we do in this case is the reverse of the Sune, which is R, U2, R prime, U prime, R, U prime, R prime. And there you go. So hopefully that video has made sense. Just make sure you pay close attention to how you hold the puzzle before you do your algorithms, because that's the big thing that I struggled with when learning how to do OLL and then PLL. Hopefully this video has been helpful though guys, and if it has, please remember to give a thumbs up. If you have any questions, remember to ask them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And then of course subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.